fears of the overlord coming to be are coming to be, and that's why I'm excited to bring in our next co-host. We'll call him a guest correspondent today from Revolutionary Blackout Network. Please welcome back to the show, Nick Cruz. There he is. Hey, Nick.
What's pop, my friends?
What's going on?
How you guys doing, man? That was a great segment, man. There's so many like fake political theater a lot of people are doing who trying to like change their image. Like, I don't know if you guys seen it, but the segment that you just did on Piers Morgan apologizing about getting everything wrong about COVID, it reminds me of Anna Kasparian apologizing to Aaron Mate. I don't know if you guys had a chance to cover that. Actually, I have that loading up to cover.
You know what? I have it right here, and we because we were running behind. I was like, well, we'll save it, but let's do it right now. Let's do the. You want to?
Yeah, that was that Piers Morgan segment remind me of. So if you got the segment, dude, I'm down to do it with you guys because I was gonna do it on RBN eventually.
All right, Nick,
whatever, my friend.
You got to stop going so scorched earth on people because you can get on some of these shows too right now, but they ain't gonna let you and Matt on when you go scorched earth on these people, right?
Yeah, they're gatekeepers, man. They're still very bad faith. And Piers Morgan in particular, Brianna Joy Gray, I know for a fact, Brianna Joy Gray reached out to Piers Morgan and suggested that he invite me on the show. And you guys know Brianna Joy Gray is one of the people that's accepted in corporate media. She's allowed on the show. She had an ear to the guy and brought my name up in particular to him. And they still didn't invite me on. What does that say? Because they won. I thought it was a debate show. I thought you wanted someone on the radical left, a black radical, to debate and be destroyed by the capitalists, right? But they don't want that. They don't want real dialogue with dissidents. That's why I love the segment. I love the segment that you guys just did because there's still massive amount of gatekeeping. And it's wild to see them pretend that they're not engaging. Yeah. Oh, I'm open to debate. I apologize to Aaron Mate. I apologize to the coach. You don't really want discourse. Let's be real.
Well, let's see what happened here because we know there's a history there for the last 5 years. I mean, we've been talking about COVID, but we're also talking about the Russiagate problem, right? That's been a problem. People like Anna Kasparian. So she is acknowledging this right now. She's saying 5 years ago, I accused Aaron Mate of unfounded claims that he was being paid by Russia. While I stupidly and sincerely believed it at the time, no evidence has materialized to prove it. I'm embarrassed by it, and I owe him, along with his readers, a long overdue apology. Aaron, I guess he replied pretty quickly, like within an hour or so, and he says, hey, Anna, I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the speaking out you've done for Palestine. In turn, I'm sorry for any ad hominem comments I made in response back then, and not how I want to conduct myself. So the response on Twitter, it seems like more people are giving thumbs up. They say, hey, it's nice to see people come together, but there are those who are saying, and rightfully so, saying, wait a minute, this little moment you're creating, this little feel-good moment is not actually getting to the heart of the problem. Nick, why don't you chime in first? What is the part not being said that people have a right to be upset about just because a little lovey-dovey moment happened? And nothing against Aaron Mate. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah, I love it.
Very cool. But what is the part not being said to people that don't know the history here?
It's just generally a scumbag move not to accept people's apology. Like,
right,
I could be mad as hell at somebody, and I've been there with many people in our space. And then they reach out, they're like, Nick, I apologize for saying that. And I almost 99.9% of the time I always accept the apology. You gotta be kind of heartless not to. Like, even if people make me mad, so I don't blame Aaron Mate at all.
Sure. Yeah.
But holy shit, man! Like, how calculating is Anna Kasparian? Because she's only doing it because Aaron Mate and the gray zone have been vindicated throughout the years. The gray zone, especially ever since the genocide in Gaza, have become extremely popular, extremely prominent, especially in this lane that TYT is now trying to fill. So now they're trying to be in this post-Democrat, post-left space where they're talking to people on the right. They're trying to win over more independents who are leaving the duopoly. So they have to do this image reversal where they now okay with Aaron Mate. The quick question I have is why won't she unblock any of the people who called her out for the shit livery that she was engaging in real time? Because I'm blocked by the entirety of TYT. I'm blocked by Anna Kasparian as well. Anna Kasparian blocked the entirety of Black radical left Twitter because we called her out for her pro-war, anti-homeless, pro-cop, her pro-imperialist pushing agenda for years. So why is it that she only apologized to Aaron Mate instead of the people who've been trying to hold her accountable actively? It just rebranding and rank political opportunism. And it's crazy to me that people can't see through it, man. The TYT rebrand has been extremely wild to witness over the last year or so.
Yeah. Not getting to the heart of the issue, which is her. It's not just that you were mean. That's so she's saying I'm sorry for being mean. It reminds me of the year thing. Like, hey, and of course, Aaron is cool and says, hey, if I said anything rude, I probably so. But come on, like we're not talking about how mean you were with your words. We're talking about your not just bad reporting, but your dishonest reporting that hurt a lot of people. Like you affect people, and Pierce should know this too. You affect people with your bad information. So it's not just about I was too hard with my words to you. My entire approach to the topic was disingenuous, and it was harmful, not just to you, but to all of our listeners, all of our viewers, all of the people's extended family and friends from that listening that still think that Russia captured our election in 2016, that still think that Syria, that Assad, did chemical attacks on his own people. And you're never going to go back to that and say, wait a minute, why did we have this wrong? And then what is the real apology? What would a real apology look like? Craig, what's your thoughts on this one as far as what would a real apology look like versus what we saw?
Well, I think she has to apologize, not so much that she went after Aaron Mate. I think she has to apologize for getting the story wrong, the Russiagate story wrong. I think that's the whole bigger picture right now is why did you get that wrong? In real time, all of us here on this panel today got it right. We had talked about, Russiagate before, me and you, Matt, off camera before. When that Russiagate came along, when Joy Reid said it on a debate one night, all of a sudden we were scratching our head like, where's this coming from, this whole Russia thing? And then within a couple of weeks, they were building together this story that Donald Trump was working with the Russians, and now he's the puppet of Vladimir Putin. And a lot of people bought into it, and they were some of the people who bought into it. Now, a lot of people are questioning, did they buy into it then because they were getting that Katzenberg cash and they were obligated to buy into it? And now they're not getting that money so they can come out and they don't have to be so disingenuous and stuff? Like, in other words, she probably believed that to make it, to be where she's at, to be now on CNN, that she's going on there, that she had to go ahead and play ball, that it was okay to do that. In media, that you can play ball with these people as long as they're giving you a check. They'll be able to give you some liberties that you can say certain stuff that you want and hold your position. But in other things, to get that money, you got to appease them. That says a lot about journalists. And even if that is the way it's being done, that doesn't mean it's right. A lot of us over here on this panel, once again, have integrity. And even though it was unpopular at the time when these issues were happening, we still held our guns because we thought it was the right thing to do, to be a journalist, to be true, to be honest, even if it wasn't popular. So I think that's the big question. And Anna's not stupid, right? Like, I would say this much. She is talented, right? Like, she can get an argument out. She knows how to do it. She gets a little bit over the top, that emotional way and stuff like that. But she reminds me of a lot of people in independent media that I sometimes enjoy when they have when they're passionate about something. And in this particular situation, when it comes to arguing for Gaza, she's on the right side of history. And it feels good. It feels fun to argue on the right side of history. So, I mean, she sees the audience she's now gaining back. She likes that audience. There's a lot of people who didn't like her, who didn't like her stances and her quietness on COVID, who didn't like her stance on Russia and Russiagate. I mean, they were terrible on Russia. So, I mean, she's no dummy, but I don't believe it to be too sincere. And I don't know if you can trust her 100%. I do think she's smart right now, the way she is playing things. And I look for her. And by the way, Nick, I went and looked. I'm still blocked by Anna Kasparian, too. Can I share real quick, Matt, if you just let me share this real quick?
Yes.
Because Nick knows what this looks like. See, you ain't accomplished anything in life, Matt, until you get blocked by Anna Kasparian. So you need to get on the horse and get with me and Nick over here and get blocked by Anna Kasparian. So, you know, and by the way, just to finish up real quickly, you can put it down. Nick, I know you get mad when some of the Democrats and the synthetic left take the language and change it. Like now woke, unfortunately, means something totally different than it did before. Woke was actually a positive thing, and now it's more of a negative thing, right? And unfortunately, because the masses adapted it, we have to kind of go along with it. We can try to fight it, but I don't think it works. I don't think you can call yourself radical left anymore. I think you're the anti-imperialist left, the common sense left. Unfortunately, the radical left is who Donald Trump deems to be the PSL and all those people fighting those culture wars. But the other left, there's us, I think, in the anti-imperialist left, which is the common sense left. We will not vote for the Democratic Party. Just because we're leftists doesn't mean we're Democrats. You have the radical left, which I call them the culture war left. You know, a lot of the PSL people and put some of those culture war issues beforehand, which not to say they're not important. They're just not as important as fucking empire. And the third one is the establishment left, right? Those are the Democrats. Those are the Picari sellers, whatnot. They're opening the doors now to the common sense left to come in, right? They've already milked all the crap and the juice out of the radical left that they like to call the culture war left. I mean, the Democratic Party got them to go and vote for them by appeasing them, but it's so unpopular. There's no populist message that they're coming to us. You know, they're talking about us on the left and the right. So Anna is playing her game, her card smart in getting involved in that establishment left. Right. And at certain times when she's sitting there next to Ben Shapiro, even though they're not allowed to talk about Israel, I agree with a lot what Anna's saying. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes she's representing a place and a voice, because I said this to Matt before. If we fucking hold the line, there's only so long the establishment left can hold us out and shut us out. They're going to have to let us in because they're losing too many people, and they'll see that and they'll let us get our voices in.
Very well said, Fred.
Go ahead.
There's a few things I want to add. I'll pass it right back to you, Mac. I know you want to chime in. There's a new strategy, which is very smart. Like, these people are very business minded. They know, and they're good at putting a finger in the air and seeing which way the wind blows. Like, it's like the Dave Smith types, like the people who are invited on Piers Morgan, because you know Anna Kasparian, she's invited on corporate media all the time. She's on CNN too. She's on Piers Morgan. These people are amazingly talented, not like in terms of intellect, in my opinion. I think they're just very calculating in how they move. So now the new trick, because people love when people apologize. It shows that you have humanity. It's a good way to develop good PR. So what you do is you take positions that will help your subscribers and help your clout in the moment. It doesn't matter if you're right on principle. It doesn't matter. Like, if the vibes tell you to smear someone as a Russiagate, as an agent of Russia, like Anna did to Aaron Mate, that's exactly what you do. If your grift relies on you endorsing Donald Trump and promoting him as a peace president, people like Dave Smith, what he did, and Ian Carroll, there's a lot of these libertarian grifters who abandon libertarian principles, not the principles I have. Yeah. But the principles I understand with libertarianism, of being anti-war, not supporting giant neocon capitalists on the right, on the Republican Party. They abandoned that principle in order to gain MAGA followers. And it was an amazing business move by Dave Smith to do that. Yeah. So then when later, and it's will always happen, when it's proven that you sold out, when it's proven later by time that your position was wrong, what do these people do? People like Dave Smith later turn around and say, I'm sorry for misleading the working class. I'm sorry for misleading the anti-war movement and promoting Donald Trump as anti-war. I'm sorry. Then they just release an apology video and people move on like they didn't do massive damage and propaganda for the regime. And I think we all will agree that this is a smart move. I think I would benefit greatly if I was shameless like this if I just took positions that would benefit me at the time, knowing I can always just release an apology video later and people will forgive me for doing propaganda for the Zionist regime like Dave Smith, for doing propaganda on behalf of the military-industrial complex like Anna Kasparian, for smearing Aaron Mate, for blocking all true dissidents like yourselves, like myself, and will never have any apology for people who will threaten the system that she upheld. So it's just unbelievably fake. One more thing I'll say, and I'll pass it back to Matt, because I think there was a lot of great things you said, Greg, but with your description of the quote-unquote, and I emphasize quote-unquote radical left is on point because I've been on their necks. Like I would do much better if I get along to get along. You know what I mean? Like if I just went along with the Zoran Mamdani grift, for example, like if I just went along with Dr. Cornel West with no criticism, if I just rode the progressive train, it would have been amazing, but I can't abide that. Like when I see PSL and these quote radical communists, socialists, trailing the Democratic Party, because that's all they do. They was tweeting about the No Keynes rally. How did that work for you guys, by the way? So when you're an organization that trailed the Democratic Party, if you're an organization that don't find it reprehensible to even organize with Zionist, genocidal capitalists, I think it's very misleading for you to even have the title of, quote, radical left. And that's the never-ending battle that I'm in. It's the never-ending battle of reclaiming and making sure people understand what I stand for when I say I'm actually a socialist, when I say I'm a communist. Because unfortunately, when people hear that word now, when people hear that they're a socialist and communist, they immediately think of purple-haired identity politics because that is what PSL represents. They immediately think that you're more of a Democrat-like, which is why I surprise people. Like whenever I go on Jake Shields' show, which I was canceled by the PSL left for a dare having those conversations. I talk to people on the right and they are shocked at what it actually means to be a radical left, to be on the quote-unquote radical left, to be a communist who actually cares about the American working class and not using culture war to divide us. And I think that's by design, Greg. But there's a lot you want to say there. So a lot great you said there, Greg. But I'm back to Matt. I know you want to chime in as well.
But Matt, but by definition, we are the radical left because we're the ones who will never vote for the Democratic Party and we oppose the security state and the military-industrial complex. It's just that Donald Trump, with a bunch of other guys, changed the fucking meaning of woke and chose the meaning. But, you know, we were progressives. Now Nancy Pelosi calls herself a progressive. So I think we just got to roll with the punches. But I like anti-imperialist leftists anyways, Nick, and I think it suits you better because you got involved with this because you're a foreign policy wonk. So are we. And that's important because everything's evil stems from empire. Sorry, Mac. Go ahead, Bubba.
No, this is all important stuff. This is exactly the conversation we're supposed to be having right now. And we talk about the verbiage and the usage of words and stealing terms. But at the end of the day, I think whether we're considered radical or not, is it radical to have principle? Maybe it is. Absolutely. Maybe that's really the thing we're talking about. It's radical to have principle. And it's easy. Guys, by the way, it's easy to apply principle because it's consistent. You don't have to wake up and go, a thing just happened. Let me check in with my overlord and be told what to think and feel about the thing. You don't have to check in with anyone. You just apply the principle. And that's what we should be. That's what all these organizations should be doing. That are, if you really are anti-war, then you're anti-war. If you're really for bodily autonomy, you're for bodily autonomy. If you're really for being about humanity and calling out power, you do that. You do that every time, not just when it's convenient. So I think you guys hit on a lot of great points here with Anna. Look, one of the principle I will apply, and we do this on the show. I apply the principle of when somebody gets something right, we acknowledge it, even if it's somebody we don't like. If somebody we like gets something wrong, we acknowledge it, even if we don't want to. So there's a consistency of calling stuff out. So I like that Anna is somebody that we said, hey, here's some stuff she got right, but she's clearly been wrong about a lot of things. This apology does seem to be, kind of insincere in the sense that it's designed to be good for her audience, and it's designed to call it what Aaron gets a little apology. What about everyone else? What about you, Nick? What about the blocking? So we don't see her going through that. And that's unfortunate. And so I think it's good if our audience too applies that principle, we understand what's happening as it's happening. We don't have to go check in and go, what are we supposed to think about this? No, it's right here. We can see it, right? And so that's it. So we can see it. And I'll say this. I didn't know that Anna put this tweet out. This is important because this reminds us that even though she says the good stuff about Palestine and Israel, is she saying all the good stuff about it? Because I didn't know she put this out as this was May 31st.
Yeah.
Saying I loathe Hamas. They're pieces of shit.
Wow.
People.
Yeah.
Fuck them. This is how many months ago? Like 6 months or something? This is not
crazy to say, man.
This is insane.
That's crazy.
So what is going on here? This is her not understanding principle, right? This is her not she can be loud and like, Craig, you're right, Craig, you're right. Like she is so good at going in for the kill when she goes on Piers Morgan, when she goes on CNN now, she goes in for the kill with what they allow her to do. But this is not principled, because if it was principled, you'd apply it there. And then you wouldn't have to go back and go, how many homeless people did I rag on today? And let me find those videos. You wouldn't have to do that. We don't have to do that here. We don't have to go in our backlog and look for what was that time where we just punched down at people? Where was that? Oh, I better maneuver. No, we never have to maneuver if we apply principle every time. Even if we don't have all the information and we have to get more information, our minds can change based on new information, but we never change our principle. And that makes it easy, guys. It's easy to do it if you just do it. So that's
somebody should reach out to Aaron. Somebody should reach out to Aaron and tell her have a show explaining to Anna why she shouldn't loathe Hamas. Right? Exactly. You got to understand the whole situation, and that shows me that's a lack of knowledge of what's going on over there.
Yeah. So,
go ahead.
I'm gonna ask a favor for you, Matt. Can you please send me that screenshot, because I have to cover that?
Yes.
I haven't seen that tweet because I've been blocked. Like I haven't seen anything come from Anna in a very, very long time.
Okay.
But that's very revealing. It's not shocking. It's very revealing to me. It's very sad that anyone in the pro-Palestinian movement will ever support anyone like this who condemns the Palestinian people. Like how can she say she loved the Palestinian people but condemn Hamas? So you love the Palestinians while they're victims.
Yeah.
Like you want to mourn them as they're victims of the genocidal Israeli regime, but the second that Palestinians fight back, like this is why they would never have a conversation with us, because I would absolutely destroy her logic on this. Because the majority of Hamas, they're Palestinian orphans. Sinwar is an orphan. He famously talks about it and wrote about how he got into the fight after he lost both his parents to the Israeli regime.
Yeah.
So you loathe people who want to fight against the genocidal apartheid regime you claim you're against? It's wholly disgusting, and it's crazy that people fall for this grip. So I'm gonna ask you, can you please send me that? Because I never seen that till now. It doesn't surprise me at all that she said that, but I think we got to actively expose these people who condemn the resistance. Yeah. To me, I think if you condemn the resistance, you're no different than a Zionist. Yeah. Because people like Zoran, I explained it on X and Twitter, and I had to explain it to Zoran people. It doesn't matter if you say you believe that Israel should exist as a land where everyone has equal rights. If you're condemning people to death, they are actively fighting for that said thing. Because the stated position of Zoran Mamdani and liberal Zionists is that they want Israel to exist as a state where everyone has equal rights, but the people who are fighting for that to happen are the resistance fighters.
Yeah.
So it's an incoherent position, and by condemning the resistance, you are practically and effectively a Zionist, arguing for the existence of Israel and fighting and condemning to death anyone who would challenge that. So even if you don't believe that you are Ben Gvir style Zionist, if you believe that anyone who fights against Israel deserves to die, which I'm not sure Anna believes this, but this is the position of people like Bernie Sanders. I'm expanding this a little bit further, just to be clear here. Like people like Bernie Sanders, AOC, and these people, they believe that the second you sign up for Hamas, Israel has the right to murder you. That's the Senate resolution that both Bernie Sanders support. That's what AOC supported, Israel right to defend itself. Defend itself against who? Hezbollah? Against Hamas? The people who are fighting against the greater Israel project? So sorry to go on a long explanation, Matt. I'm sorry for that. But I have to explain that if you take the position of Anna, you're no different than a AIPAC supporting Democrat, as far as I'm concerned. But please, I know you want to add to this. Please continue.
No, I would just say that if I don't think she doesn't actually loathe Hamas. I think this is her way to get on CNN. Absolutely. That's her ticket on.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
it.
Can I say something too? Like,
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought up Mandami, because it's the same thing Mandami is doing when he's going along with the state narrative about when he's talking about the leader of Cuba and Diaz-Canal and talking about, Maduro. He does not anything. He's just repeating that state narrative once again, that CIA narrative. That's what she's doing when she says she loathes Hamas, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and to think, how little do you look at the Palestinian people and say, oh, I love them, but I loathe Hamas? Like, they're so stupid to let Hamas just exist over there right now, as if they don't look at them as freedom fighters. And the fact that you're so ignorant that you don't know that there's other facets of the other groups in the resistance. Hamas is just one part. It's just a boogeyman word for the media to use on behalf of the security state and the military-industrial complex to frame a narrative. And you're still playing ball by repeating it. Now, you might say, we'll give you a pass because you're ignorant, but you better fucking get educated quick on it, right? You better have a conversation with Vanessa Beeley or Aaron Mate, for that fucking matter, and understand what's going on, because you're sitting there and you're acting like you're supporting a group of people. Meanwhile, you're passively smacking them in the face.
Yeah, I think ignorance that's never an excuse for me. Like, if you're an ordinary working class person who works 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week for most Americans now, taking care of a family, and you don't have time to dig into the weeds of politics, you can use ignorance as an excuse. And I actually very lenient to people who don't got time to weed toward the propaganda. But the second that you stand in front of a camera, the second that you start sharing your opinions to the American populace, especially when you do it professionally, like meaning you get paid for it, it is your career, you're supposed to spend your entire time learning and informing your audience, and you use ignorance as an excuse? The audacity. I take what I do extremely serious. And I make a fraction of what Anna Kasparian does. I have a fraction of the audience that Anna Kasparian does. But I take it upon myself. I take my responsibility to the working class and being honest to my audience more than I take that extremely seriously. Everyone who's around me, the RBN team, they know how serious I take when it comes to research and stuff to make sure that I'm never misleading the working class. But you guys see how easily these people just dismiss stuff like, and sorry to go back again on Dave Rubin, oh, I was just ignorant about Trump and Ukraine. I'm just ignorant. That is not an excuse. No. It is not an excuse to say you're ignorant and to do propaganda on behalf of the regime. That's nonsense. I hate that people accept that. Like, if you're just an ordinary person, ignorance is okay. But if you're a professional, like Anna Kasparian and many of these other people, that should never be accepted as an excuse. I hold myself to a higher standard. I judge myself extremely critically, and I have for years. But these people say, oh, I'm just ignorant. I'm just ignorant. Nonsense.
Well, I guess we're at the voting time we're doing this. It's apologies long overdue, real or fake. So let's get our hands like gladiator style, right? This is Joaquin Phoenix gladiator style. Get your Craig thumb up. Come on, let's all do it. This is the on the count.
Wait, I want to get on a show. Can I do this?
Is that Anna Kasparian's apology to Aaron Mate, real or fake news? Looks like it's fake.
Yeah, fake as fuck.
I think it's real because she wants that audience, but I think it's kind of a little insincere because you didn't do the homework.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Who doesn't want their audience? Of course. We love our audience, and we love you guys are here with us on the Homeless Left right now. We got Nick Cruz. We got Craig Pasta-Jardula. We got more show for you right now. I know we only have a limit. I know, man, we always run over with these conversations. We have we can do one more segment with you guys, I believe. Yes. Can we do? You guys want to do? I have or you guys want to spill over a little bit, or how are you guys on time?
I'm down for one more. One more.
Okay. You want to do Venezuela, or you want to do I got your little thing on hotspot on Epstein. I
cover both. I'm down for whatever.
Okay. What are you feeling, Pasta? Feeling a little Venezuela?
Obviously I like to talk about Venezuela, but I got my first demonetization in our first strike on the convo couch when we were talking about Epstein back in the days when nobody on the left was, and had a couple videos out there. But let's do Venezuela because this is
Venezuela.
Because we already talked about Venezuela, and let's talk about Venezuela.
All right, here we go. We're going to intro this. This is a World War III watch. Here we go. It's World War III Watch. Let's just face it, it's already started. I'm here with co-host Craig Pastor-Jardula and Nick Cruz. We are looking at Venezuela and amongst other places, because right now the big question, and I'll borrow this from an old Michael Moore movie title, who are we going to invade next? But it looks like Venezuela is taking the lead on this right now. And this was, we had George Galloway shared this out from a Hats Off post. Here's what's happening right now as far as the geography of the setting up the chessboard for U.S. invasion of Venezuela. Here it is.
15,000 U.S. Marines have now arrived near Venezuela, and what's happening in the Caribbean looks like the biggest military buildup since Iraq. Just off Venezuela's coast, Trinidad and Tobago has turned into a full-blown military zone. Meanwhile, the airspace above Puerto Rico has been completely shut down under national defense protocol. 2 U.S. aircraft carriers are already in position, and a third is racing in from the Caribbean. This could be one of the largest U.S. strike packages since World War II. Meanwhile, the U.S. officials are saying that there's no plan to attack Venezuela, but analysts are calling it the biggest military buildup since the Iraq War. In response, Venezuela has warned the United States that if an attack is launched, it will retaliate with its full strength. They deployed their Russian-made S-300V and BKM-2 air defense systems. Both nations are now on high alert, and tensions across the Caribbean are reaching a breaking point.
And then we had RT put this out, and this is coming directly from a Venezuela official, that we wouldn't have lost 2 hours in a conventional war, but Caracas plans to sow chaos with decades-old Russian-made gear in guerrilla-style resistance if U.S. attacks. And it's officially called prolonged resistance. Is this feeling like this is going to be us walking in to a Vietnam 2.0 or part 2 or whatever you want to call it? And this is an interesting diagram. If you guys can see that, this is the way we lost. If you guys are wondering, how did we lose Vietnam? Well, this is how. And this is all these different techniques that apparently we're going to have on the ground in Caracas, because as we know, we've been there and we understand how the revolutionary military groups work there. They are there are people's militias. There's a group called the Tupamaros. They're very active. They understand that when it's time to grab your gun, you grab your gun and you get positioned, and they're not joking around. And I think that that's the thing, that maybe we're overestimating our narcissism, that we're going to be able to do this very easily. It's not going to be very easy, but either way, it looks like we're on the cusp of it. So let's start with that. Nick, how close are we before we start talking strategy and what's the outcome, how close are we for this actually happening at this point?
It seems like it's definitely going to happen. I warned people when Donald Trump increased the military budget to over $1 trillion. I'm like, guys, they're not spending that money for no reason. Like, they're planning to use that $1 trillion military budget. And it's been clear, and even the ruling class has admitted that United States sanctions is a failed endeavor in terms of what they want to accomplish. Like, it accomplishes mass death. There have been insane studies that showed the countless millions of people who died because of United States sanctions over the last few decades. But it's a failure in terms of turning people against the government like the West wants them to. So United States sanctions, the only thing they actually accomplish in hostile military actions is rally the people around Nicolas Maduro. United States sanctions have been a complete failure. And when Edmundo Gonzalez lost to Nicolas Maduro in the last election, it was the ultimate sign that the West policies, that Washington policies, the UK's policies, France's and Germany's policies towards Venezuela was a complete failure. So it doesn't surprise me now. Well, actually, I would say, like, war always surprised me. But this was the only option they had left. The opposition party completely failed to win over the people of Venezuela. So now they're trying to take the oil and control the markets in South America by force. Since the sanctions didn't work, CIA covert operations didn't work. So as much as they want to avoid hot war, this is the only choice they have. But this will be catastrophic for the entire military-industrial complex, because we saw that they couldn't even defeat the Taliban. We lost every single war in the modern era. And we have a military that doesn't produce warriors. We have people who sign up for the military simply because they want free college. So how do you think these people are going to do versus people who are actively defending their nation against imperial aggression? This is why we lost to the Viet Cong. This is why we lose these imperialist wars of aggression. And now you have the global majority. This will be the last time I say, I'll pass it back to you guys. You have the global majority that is rallying behind Maduro. You have people who was critical of Maduro, who bought American lies against Maduro, like Gustavo Petro, for example. You have Lula da Silva speaking out against this. And that's showing the blunder of Washington policies, that instead of rallying South American leaders against Maduro, their policies done the exact opposite. And now you have China that is coming to the defense of Venezuela. You have Russia that sent air defenses. Yep. And you have high-level Russian officials who floated the idea of sending ballistic missiles. I don't think they will, but they floated the idea of doing that. So the world is rallying behind Venezuela, and I think this is just another disastrous United States foreign policy that is essentially brought by panic by the ruling class. But that's my thoughts. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously something that we've put the pieces on the chessboard. We've talked on the show a bunch about how you get half the country, or at least attempt to get half the country, because you got the Trump people that believe this garbage about the drug cartels, and there's fentanyl coming right from Caracas, which is completely disproven, totally untrue. We know this is untrue. And then you have this idea that, like, we have to protect us here. We have to fight them there to protect us here. That whole thing, and then we can just get away with a Secretary of War just being a judge, jury, and executioner every time he wants to take out a ship, a boat. It's usually fishermen, innocent fishermen in the sea in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then gloat about it on social media. So we see that whole thing that they can't call Maduro. They can't call Maduro that he has weapons of mass destruction, so they have to go another direction. So we see all that, and then on top of that, you got this Marina Corina. We call her,
Jesus.
Yeah, we call her Marina Coronavirus Machado. That's her new name for her. But because she's this Nobel Peace Prize winning, she's just a plague wherever she goes. But she's somebody who's literally lying, like in real time right now, lying about what Venezuelans want. She's saying 90% of them want us to invade. That's insane. Anybody that is believing this garbage needs to understand how ridiculous of a claim that would be. Even if you hate Maduro and you can make a claim that maybe half the people are against him, they would never vote for or say out loud, yes, please, American imperialist machine, come on in, do what you got to do, because we're incapable. You know better than we do how to fix our problems. Come help us, come fix our problems. That's never a thing. That's not a thing. I saw a poll that said only 3% of them maybe would consider something like that. But she's going around saying 90, and there are Trumpers believing this right now. Craig, how close is Trump at losing the narrative on this, or does it even matter if his base believes it or not? They're going to do it anyways. Does the base matter at this point?
The base does matter, and the base is still there. Let's not forget that we live in the most xenophobic, and that's the nicest fucking way to put it. We live in the most xenophobic nation in the world, literally, right? This sense of entitlement from everybody across the board that's been here, even the immigrants, the children of the immigrants, like my Italian family and stuff, they don't, like I said, they always are looking at the immigrant as the problem. So many people think that if you fix that problem of immigration, and first of all, it's a made up problem, that you'll fix everything. So they'll go along with it, and they'll go along with the narrative, because not only are we the most xenophobic nation, we're also the most propagandized nation. And the thing that's really bothering me, and by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this news that just happened the other day, the UK and Canada are no longer going to work with the United States military to provide information and leaks or anything to help bomb people in the Caribbean. They think it might come back and bite them in the ass. They look at it as being extrajudicial, and that they could lead to them going to The Hague. And they think it's against international law. Not so much that they haven't done anything against international law, but they think this is so bad that they don't want to even have a part of it. It kind of forced Rubio to make a statement, kind of like being, wagging his finger at the EU and Canada and the UK for doing so. So that's going on right now. But what this really bothers me about, and all those things that, Nick said are so true. And there's so many things that we wrote about. Like we talk about them being, I think it was Larry Johnson said on Judge Knapp's show that Venezuela is Spanish for Vietnam, meaning that if you think Vietnam is tough, wait until you see this. And you're right, Matt. It's if you look at a topographic map of Venezuela, there's jungles and mountains and hills, and there's militias. There's armed militias in that country that since they kidnapped Hugo Chavez over 25 years ago, was it 25 years ago? And it was probably 15 years ago, I think it was, when they kidnapped him, that he actually had cities or communities or villages, all of them have a sergeant at arms and guns in each one of their villages. So if the invaders come, they get to the arms and they go to their spot. It becomes guerrilla warfare. So that's what's going on over there. And also, it's not just about the oil. It's all about the gold and the rare earth minerals and, who's going to benefit. And we've also talked about the 1930s map, the Club of Rome, where the United States is going to expand its territory to take all of Mexico and Central America and Venezuela and Colombia. And then it also has Canada and Greenland, right? That's something that was mapped out a long time ago. And it seems like they're trying to move towards a time of acceleration to get it all back. All that considered, the thing that bothers me the most, the fact is that not only do we understand that these boats that were being bombed and these innocent fishermen that were being killed, that those boats would have to refuel 20 times before they reach the shore of America, that 0% fentanyl comes out of Venezuela to begin with. We are avoiding the national discussion, which is the crisis that we have so many people in this country who are addicted to opioids. And that is a problem coming directly from who? Once again, Big Pharma. That's why we had such a hard time on believing Big Pharma, when they came along with their vaccine. When it came to the coronavirus, no offense to Marina coronavirus, but that's why we didn't believe it. And now they're at the helm of a problem, right? They're the ones who caused this problem. They lobbied the government to treat us like lab rats, to get us addicted. The ruling class was cool about it because of a very addicted, citizenry is an easy citizenry to control. So they went along with it. And we're not having that discussion. Why are there so many fentanyl addicts to begin in the first place? Because they were giving it like Pez candy and there was no repercussions. They got our citizens hooked on this stuff. And that's the discussion we are not having. I hope eventually we have that discussion. But once again, the party of individual responsibility, the conservative Republican Party, they're so about their own individual responsibility. Pull yourself up from the bootstraps. They don't want to take any responsibility for what happens with their country, what their foreign policy does. They want to blame somebody else. They want to blame somebody else for the national crisis of opioid addiction is here in America, and they're pointing the finger at the Latin Americans, and they're okay with it. That's the problem that's bothering me more than anything. We're not talking about what needs to be talked about. Big Pharma is to blame.
Yeah, according to the right wing, China is responsible for the fentanyl crisis in America. But where's the fentanyl crisis in China? If it comes directly from China, you would think that China will be ground zero for the fentanyl crisis, right? It's not. Maybe your society is horrifically planned. Maybe Americans' brains are broken just because people's labor are being devalued. They see their cities falling apart. Their water is polluted. Barely any Americans are able to drink out of the tap water now. We got lead poisoning, and then they blame China and the Chinese Communist Party. Now they're blaming Venezuela for the drug problem. This is what Americans always do. They refuse to take accountability. One more thing I'll add, because you guys do amazing coverage on these issues. You brought up the UK refusing to share info with the United States on Venezuela, which I think is really damning and revealing, because the UK, they're the same people who still share intelligence with Israel. They had no problems being complicit with genocide in Israel. So what does it say that they are backing for the United States on this? It's probably because they realize that they haven't done enough pre-genocide propaganda dehumanizing South Americans yet. They haven't quite dehumanized the Venezuelan people among the British public where they realize they can get away with slaughtering them. What does that say? It kind of reveals their twisted mindset in the state of geopolitics. But please continue.
No, this is well summed up. And I guess, the question being, do you need the base to be on board or not? I don't think you actually do. I think the frustration is that they are, and they still twist and turn. And like you're saying, Nick, about it's communist China's coming to get us. It's also, by the way, we're on the topic of what's coming to get us. It's Mamdani in New York City is now Sharia laws coming to New York City. Meanwhile, it's totally cool to have a reformed terrorist in the White House on the same freaking week, right? So like so the twists and turns as far as, and not understanding, I think that this is the real lesson. And I don't know if anyone on the left has figured this out, maybe a handful more people than on the right, but nobody really seems to understand in these two captured tribes. They don't understand that we bring on our own problems. The CIA creates these problems. I know, Craig, you didn't come out and say it, but I'll say it for you. The CIA creates the drug problem right here. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. We're in LA. We see the fentanyl thing happening in real time. This is not Maduro doing it. This isn't Xi Jinping doing it. This is our CIA creating this, and it's not the first time. We understand how the drugs, the crack epidemic. We understand that was deliberate. So we have to get out of this two-party duopoly and understand that they're working against us, their own people. Yes, it's actually happening. That's what's happening, not outside forces. So I don't know how much we can do with this, educating people. But again, I fear that if we actually wake enough people up, then what? They still have they still have the keys to the car. They still have, Pete Hegseth is still playing Battleship in the Caribbean. So how do you stop that? Even if you change people's minds about what's really happening, they can still do whatever the hell they want. And I think it looks to me like they just want to go down with the ship, kicking and screaming as empires fall. That's what they seem to do. They just go out kicking and screaming. That's maybe what we're living through right now.
Did you see that idiot from the Department of War when he says FAFO? Like, get the fuck out of here, you idiot.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I guess World War III it's in process. That's why we say it's already started. They're going to retroactively say, we've been into this thing since 2014, guys. We just didn't know it. So I think that might be what's happening here. But I guess that's all for this conversation.
Yeah, if you're American, I've been harping on this. I think everyone should. If you're a peace candidate, I think we've been too kind to the troops. To be honest, if you are American, it is your moral duty to convince as many people, to convince your relatives to not sign up for the military. If you hear any relative float the idea, you need to convince them to leave. If you're a parent and you send your child to die in Venezuela, if you send your child to die fighting Israeli wars, I don't want to hear the tears. You kind of deserve it. So that'd be the last thing I'll say. Because if you serve our United States military with their plans to go in war with China over Taiwan, that's upcoming. They plan on taking this war to Russia to the finale. Now they're planning on war with Venezuela. If you're in United States troops, man, I don't want to hear it. Like, any trauma that you go through for the next 5 years, I don't want to hear it, man. Because at this point, we have a moral obligation to drag people out serving this empire, because our ruling class will never stop until we de-arm them. We had to de-arm them by making it a social taboo to join their conquest against Venezuela. I don't want to hear bullshit about how you need free college. Give it a rest. That does not work with me. You don't sell out the global working class because you want to get ahead in this decadent system instead of engaging for class war. So I think as a peace movement, we need to start holding the ridiculous army culture accountable. We need to make it a sin to be part of this war machine. But anyway, I think I ended there because they really gonna lead people to their death with these strategies. But you guys do a great show. I'm always down to join you guys. You guys do a fantastic show. So thanks for having me on once again.
Hey, yeah, and it was good doing Nick at Night with you the other week too. That was awesome.
Yeah, I gotta have you guys back. I would love to have both of you guys on. Like, I would love to do this again on RBN. It's always great to do a show. You guys do you guys have fantastic coverage on here. So
yeah, well, Nick, while you're here, Nick, while you're here, so we can do it together, we gotta say congratulations to our good friend and boy Nico for having another baby out there.
I love Nico.
Way to go, Nico! And the work y'all do at Hotspot is hot.
Yeah, Nico's kids are gonna be so smart. I love Nico House. One of the most underrated thinkers on the left, I believe. He's not only a fantastic guy, but I think he's a true leader. I love Nico House.
And he's a New York Knicks fan. He's classy and sassy. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we hope to have him on. Also, I think he might next week. We're trying to work it out. But yeah, very cool. Guys, you do great work. Everybody, you guys over, Revolutionary Blackout Network, the Hotspot, it's all awesome stuff, guys. And we love sharing you out, and we share out what we can, and we like help elevating each other in this space that we find ourselves in independent media, where we are censored and banned and shadow banned all the time, but we just have to be louder and power in numbers. And that's what we do here. Nick, thanks so much for being with us here today on The Homeless Left. And
keep up the great work. Make sure you guys subscribe, because I have a new channel on YouTube. My channel, Nick Cruz. My real name I'm using, Nick Cruz, on YouTube. On the RBN, we decided to become more decentralized because they've been targeting our main channel. So that's why Savvy, she has her own channel. JB has his channel, and I'm trying to grow this new personal YouTube channel. We just hit monetization last week, so if you guys enjoy this conversation, make sure you guys follow me on my new personal YouTube channel. I'm going live 3 times a week on there. So thank you guys. I'm gonna have you guys on. I think you guys do a fantastic show, as I said. So thank you guys. I'm always down if I'm available, Shawnee.
Awesome.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.